Okay. Good morning, and welcome all of you amazing human beings. Guys, it's 2024. This is DVDM Markets. This is Pounds for Breakfast. And if you're joining me for the very first time, let me know in the comments where in the world you are joining us from. We've had a massive expansion over December. We've had well over 300 brand new members into our community. So if you're brand new, massive welcome. If you're starting the year with us, you're starting the year in the perfect place. Now, I just want to start off by saying what we offer as a platform may be very different from what you may have seen out there. If you've been in the trading industry, or you've been trying to learn how to trade, you've been seeking signals, you've been seeking education, a lot of the times these things happen on a Telegram group, right? You get sent a message and that's it, done and dusted. What we've created is vastly different. I understand that takes some time to get used to, but I can absolutely guarantee what we offer here is unlike anything else in the world right now, right? We've had students, we've had competitors, we've had Instagram traders try and replicate what we've tried to do over the years, and they've never come close. This edition of what we currently have is unlike anything else in the world right now, right? You get to experience our platform for absolutely free. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the link is down in the description below. So just a massive shout out to all our brand new members. Welcome to 2024. We have an exciting year planned in the markets. And again, if you've never traded before, right, this is the perfect place to start. Now, the reason we have the free environment is that you can test the waters, you can come in, understand the market, start the learning process, start dabbling in a demo account, and risk absolutely nothing in the markets to try and understand for yourself, is this something that may work for you? And if it doesn't, great, you'll learn about the world, you'll learn about politics, you'll learn about finances, but if it does work for you, then it's the best platform out there that will help you to grow, learn, and profit along the way. So let's jump into it, let's get started. Again, massive shout out to every one of our brand new members that have joined. As I mentioned, we've well over almost 400 brand new members already since December, so massive shout out to you. Now, if you're watching this delayed, right, this very first post right here, this is going to help you to navigate the platform. So you want to go and smack that post and navigate through. And this will pretty much give you everything you need and so much more in order to navigate, get into the education, get into the academy, etc. All right, so let's jump off and let's get started with what is happening in 2024. What do we need to be looking out for? Now, there's a ton of things happening in the world from a price action perspective. So let's start looking at the news. Let's start looking at what's busy happening in the world. So let's start off with some of the fundamentals and what is really happening out there. And we'll dive a bit deeper into some of the price action and some of the things that the team is busy looking at. Okay, so first and foremost, right, we're going to see most of the articles going to say US stocks drop at the start of 2024. We're going to look at some of that price action, some of those details, but most of that is primarily due to the downgrade in the Apple stock outlook, right? Majority of this downgrade was basically on the heels of essentially Wall Street just lowering their expectations for some of the expectations on Apple shares for this next quarter, right? Barclays downgraded their rating on Apple stock, and basically it was just a concern about demand for iPhones, the issues with the Apple Watch, etc. So that was the start of it. But moving on into the balance of the week, this is just a corrective move, guys. We've seen December was red hot for stocks across the board. We saw almost a record-breaking year across the board, right? We almost broke an all-time yearly record on both the indices markets, from a US 100, from a US 30, otherwise known as Dow Jones, as well as the S&P 500. So stocks have been red hot. January, lower demand, lower volumes, especially the first few trading days in January. We saw the markets clench back some of those gains on the bigger front, right? Now, pretty important for everybody to understand is we have some fundamental data coming out today, but even more importantly than what's happening today is what's happening this Friday. I'm going to speak about that soon, right? So if you're looking to trade NFP, non-farm payrolls, or otherwise known as the earnings or the labor market report for the US, we will be doing that live this Friday. And that's going to be for Premium Plus clients only, right? So if you're part of Premium Plus, what is Premium Plus? It's everything you get in free, unlocked to its full potential. So unlimited signals, unlimited shows. We have the dollars for lunch in the afternoons, as well as the full academy, as well as one-on-one and coaching calls, right? So this Friday, we have NFP. I will be trading that live with all our Premium Plus clients. If you're brand new to Premium Plus, also massive welcome. We had quite a few new clients join us as well in this last week or so. In addition to that, right, I'm having our first first mentorship call this Saturday. So what does a mentorship call mean, right? This is where I grab all the Premium Plus clients and everybody that has TDM funded accounts, TD Markets funded accounts, and we're going to go through some of the trends from last year, right? Some of the mistakes from a trading perspective. You get to ask some of your questions. I'll get to answer them to you. And this will happen in a Zoom environment so that we can hear each other, so we can see each other, so we can talk to one another. And this will happen with only Premium Plus clients. Now, simple way of getting this, getting involved in the start of the first mentorship or coaching call 2024. Very, very simple. All you need to do is down the link below, open up your TDM live account, get that fee kit verified and funded with at least $100. That's the bare minimum to even think about trading. And just by having that account, without trading anything, you qualify for the mentorship meeting that's happening this Saturday. That'll be this Saturday at 12 o'clock at GMT +2. Super important. You also need to be a part of Premium Plus in order to qualify. Now, again, Premium Plus is where it's at. NFP this Friday is what I really meant to speak about, right? Now, if we have a look at some of the economic data that's due for today, you'll see that today we've got some JOLTS job opening data. We've got the ISM manufacturing purchasing manager index, right? Otherwise also known as a bit of inflation on the manufacturing side. And then most importantly, we've got that FOMC minutes that's just here. Right, now why is this FOMC minutes important? This FOMC minutes will essentially give us deeper insights into the last meeting we had with Papa Powell, right? The chair of the Federal Reserve in the US, right? We know that drove markets into a frenzy, right? Markets gobbled that up. Powell was a lot more dovish, a lot more loving and supportive to the market than we generally see. And our prediction was for that weaker dollar, right? For Wall Street to take that and to run with it. Now, these minutes will give us deeper insight, the actual minutes of the board sitting down together and their official, I would say, stamped statement of what transpired within the meeting. So we see a couple things from that. We see the amount of members that were for rate pauses. We see amount of members that were for potential rate reductions. Now, we saw some of that data on the dots and plot chart in the original FOMC meeting in December. This will give us that sort of granular insight into some of the decision making of some of the members, right? And that'll give us a better trajectory of where things are going. I think based on this, I think we'll see an even weaker dollar based on FOMC minutes. So this evening at 9 o'clock, we will see increased volatility, but the team is going to monitor the markets and issue trades as and when available. So that brings me on to the next thing. Many people may ask, but Dane, where's the signals? How does this work? Very, very simply put, right? We look at the markets, we analyze the markets in great detail, and the team gets set orders over where to issue trades at what levels, provided certain things happen, right? So in the social area, right, if you go into the social area, you'll see it's automatically listed on all, right? Now, if you just want to see signals, you can just then navigate, as I've shown you guys in the how-to or the navigational, you can just navigate to Drippy Pips signals, right? And as these signals come out, we will then issue these signals to you, right? And if you've got the app installed on your phone and you've enabled notifications, you'll get a notification when a new signal is uploaded. And this is how it looks. You'll get a signal. In a lot of the cases, you'll even get a screenshot of the actual market itself, and then you can go through the data and we will update whether we're closing positions, what it is that we are doing, right? And you can see our last trade in the Premium Plus or in the free area, we absolutely killed it as well. But right, the free area is limited to 500 pips a week, right? So once we hit 500 pips a week, we then migrate over into the Premium Plus area. Now, if we go into the Premium Plus area, you'll see more trades. I even gave some idea of what would be the carryover trades for 2023, and we had some additional trades that were also running in terms of Premium Plus, right? So some really amazing positions, and we continue to profit once we stopped issuing trades in the free area. So Premium Plus is basically just unlimited, right? So quite a bit happening. JOLTS jobs opening is going to happen a little bit later this afternoon than what we generally like. It's only going to happen at 5 p.m. GMT +2. So we're not going to look at that all too much. Now, as we saw in the news article, it was reported that stocks basically sold off a little bit or lost some of their gains on the start of this year. And we can see the technology side. This is the S&P 500 heat index. The technology side really had a little bit of a hit from a gains perspective, right? Apple down, as we saw in some of those reports, almost just under 4% at the moment this was reported. It's negative 3.58%. So we can see some of those losses there, but we really want to see that from a charting perspective. Now, I'm going to show you some of my favorite trade opportunities. Now, again, if you're part of our social area, you don't even have to worry, because as these trades become available, they will be issued to you. So let's start off this morning with gold, right? We know a lot of people enjoy gold. Definitely a hot and trending topic, right? So if you're part of Premium Plus, on the last trading day of the year, right, I issued out orders to say, hey, I'm buying gold, and I explained a little bit of the reason as to why I'm buying gold, and that was late. I think that was on Friday evening, the 29th, right? So if you were part of Premium Plus, gold rallied for about 160, 150, 160 pips before making some sort of turnaround. But turnaround it did. Now, let's talk about gold really quickly. And we've obviously been taking advantage of some of these bullish or this rally that's busy happening. But if we zoom out and we obviously have a look on a bigger time frame, on a weekly time frame, we can see that, we've hit these multi-high levels. However, for the story of gold in terms of price, you can see that where we are now, we've exceeded some of these highs, right? This quadruple top, if you will, or at least the triple top that we've now broken through. So in the story of gold, right, we can clearly see we are through this ceiling, and we are looking for some sort of level of support here. Now, the easiest way to spot this next stage of gold, right? If we just have a look at this immediate look, this is a 1 hour time frame. We obviously want to catch this next bull move. We want to catch this next move towards that top side. Now, it's not super clear where that support level will be, right? We don't have a super, line in the sand, clear line in the sand over where gold wants to find support. However, we do have some market structure that will help us to try and predict where that breakout may occur, right? And very, very simply put, all we're going to do is draw out a parallel channel, and a lot of people may utilize that market low, right, on the 29th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. However, that was a bit of a fake out there. We can see markets have tested further with that little bit of a candlestick, giving us the depth of that market, which is right there. Right now, what we're looking out for is obviously we're seeing this descending channel here, and we're going to expect to buy low, sell high. So we've got some scalping opportunities in this channel, but what we're really more concerned about and where we see more of the opportunity is for any of that dollar weakness. Now, if you remember, on the agenda for today, we have that FOMC meeting minutes that's coming out at 9 p.m. this evening. Now, my curiosity is if that meeting minutes divulges anything damning to the dollar. Right now, again, just a quick recap. If you aren't part of Premium Plus, we are having a Premium Plus live session this afternoon, $dollars for lunch. If you're not part of that and you're only part of the free area, what I can tell you as a tip, and just a little bit of a heads up here, any sort of hint towards interest rate reductions happening any sooner, any further dovish comments about, the Federal Reserve's financial, ammunition towards slowing down and calming the economy and seeing inflation come down, any sort of dovish comments towards, the tools and the tactics the FOMC or the Federal Reserve has deployed, of those things working, and the high likelihood that the US will not enter a recession, that a soft landing is highly likely, any hints like that will be an immediate bolstering and strength to Wall Street, an immediate weakening to the dollar. So something like that, if we see an overwhelming amount of evidence in that majority of the members were feeling the same way as how Powell reacted in December in the last FOMC meeting, that'll weaken the dollar. Right, investors will definitely see blood in the water there on the dollar, and that'll fuel some of those gains on gold. Right, again, weaker dollar means some gains on gold. Now, again, if some of the things I'm speaking about seems like gibberish to you, again, that's part and parcel of our academy. In the free area, you get parts 1, 2, 3, but in the Premium Plus area, you unlock that in its full detail. Right, so if you don't understand that, you want to unlock more detail. Again, it's less than $1 a day for you to fully unlock that understanding of what's happening in the world. So we are keeping a close eye on gold. Another big one that a lot of people are going to be speaking about, we spoke about last week, actually before the year even closed out, is that the potential for Bitcoin to break higher above that $44,000 to a coin, right? And I explained to you, we actually were talking about an ascending triangle here. There was one of our winners, I can't see her in the live show right now, but we had a winner previously who I asked the question, what is this price action formation? She correctly explained it was a descending triangle that was on gold at the time, and she won her $100. In this particular case, we have an ascending triangle, like a bullish triangle. right? And I explained last week that we want to try and grab some of those buys in this area. We missed that buy, but ultimately we see Bitcoin has utilized this price action formation to push higher, right? Again, this price action formation is nothing more simpler than basically telling us that there are less and less sellers in this formation, right? As we see buyers lift that higher lows, right? We see we don't have enough sellers in this particular market formation. There's an imbalance, having more buyers than sellers, leading to a breakout between 50 and 70% of the formation of this triangle. We ended up getting that, right? That happened at 1 a.m. this morning. Now, the interesting thing that I'm keeping my eye on this morning and for the balance of the day is, does Bitcoin remain and hold above that $44,500 to a coin? Because if it does, it will very clearly signal that it's very likely for Bitcoin to start making some tremendous moves towards top side. Now, if you missed some of our previous shows, I've broken down in great detail what has happened on Bitcoin all the way from the start of its rise, to where we are at this moment in time. So if you missed that, go back on your calendar and go and look at some previous pounds for breakfast. And again, that's super simple to do. All you're basically going to do is go into, your economic calendars, and you're going to simply go ahead and select one of the previous pounds for breakfast. You can go into December, you can go to any one of them, and you can go and click on, as an example, pounds for breakfast, 27th of December, and you can go and rewatch any one of those live broadcasts. That's available to you. So Bitcoin, very, very exciting. I'm super curious to see, should we hold above that level, may give us some really, really great opportunities. Now, there's a bunch of FX type pairs that we are looking at. However, I just want to quickly touch on indices, because that'll be something we won't issue into the free area. Indices, because of its volatility, because of the amount of pips and movement, right, we only issue that in Premium Plus, for the reason being that, an indice move can move 3,000 pips in one move, and that will mean that we'll hit the 500 pips free cap almost in the first trade, right? Meaning that free clients won't get any more info other than that first position on indices. And also, just due to the volatility, we prefer to leave that to Premium Plus clients who have a little bit more experience, who've committed to the process and aren't just testing the waters, right? It's not an ideal place to test the waters. So in terms of US30 Dow Jones, right, we can see that last year towards the end of the year, we were in that extremely strong bull momentum. We were taking advantage of that weaker dollar as we saw US30 make these higher highs and break through some previous substantial levels. And I think that's going to still count in this current season that we're in right now. What we're looking at very, very closely is the fact that, US30 has sort of entered the scallop formation here, where we've had this extremely strong bull run, and we're starting to not make as high of highs anymore, right? We're starting to make what looks like lower highs and potentially even lower lows here. So the market's kind of stalling out at this level and deciding its next state or phase of state. Now, again, as I mentioned, we have that FOMC minutes that is coming out this evening at 9 o'clock. That has a huge ability to drive markets, right? Please don't discount it as a small event. There can be bombshells hidden in those minutes, right? And it's basically just a paper that gets released and says, yeah, these are the minutes for the previous meeting. That may have the potential to drive some really big gains on Wall Street, provided the contents of that paper further supports a softer, dovish Fed that is higher, that improves the higher likelihood that all the things that have been put in place to curb inflation and lower interest rates are going to still play out. So that's obviously a big consideration. So we're looking at that quite closely. This morning, we can see what the markets are speaking about with regards to some of those declines, right? This is yesterday morning, right? The markets opened up yesterday midnight, or night before, Monday midnight rather. And we can see Tuesday, as soon as the London session opens, we saw markets absolutely tank and dump. In US30's case, we saw the tank and dump, but we also saw a bit of recovery. The opposite, and not the same, can be said for US 100, which is NASDAQ, for the reason that NASDAQ has a heavier weighting due to how much of its Apple stock is contributed towards the weighting of the NASDAQ, right? So we see the same dump, the same tank happened on the London session, and it never recovered, right? So we can see US 100 absolutely tanked and is kind of sitting in this depressed formation right there. Now, I do think there's some opportunities here for scalpers. If you jump down into a 1 minute time frame, you're going to see a pretty neat and pretty clean market formation. It's not as dead straight as I would like it to be, right? I'd like it to be a little bit straighter than that, but you at least have some sort of market structure to potentially look at from a scalping perspective. So if you're an indices scalper, you want to just pay attention to this uniform bear market structure here. And as soon as you get any sort of substantial break, that may trigger maybe a sign to you to maybe potentially start looking for some long opportunities on that market structure, right? We have made that market low. We are essentially stalling out at this level, and it'll be interesting to see whether we get some reversal, some break or turnaround here. Now, again, right, it is the start of the year, right? Again, welcome to 2024. We are starting in the middle of the week. Now, the last week of December, we also had some public holidays, we had Christmas, etc. And we also started the trading week on a Wednesday. Now, it's not ideal starting on a Wednesday, just because, you know, the normal market formations, you know, opening on a Sunday evening, gaining momentum on a Monday, gaining momentum on Tuesday. It doesn't apply in this case because we're just opening up pretty much on a Wednesday, right? So just word to the wise, last week Wednesday and the start of the week, we had a bit of a left foot start there. We took 1 or 2 L's, and then we absolutely built momentum. We blew the market away over the balance of the week. But I just want to advise that it's going to be, you know, a little bit of a cautious move into the markets as we start this week. However, we will be super sensitive about the trades that we look at. We will put out trades that we only believe are to be good, to be sound, to have a decent amount of volume. But it's always a bit tricky when you're starting a year where there isn't enough or as much volume in the markets, right? So we are going to take it a little bit more cautiously. Again, please remember, everything we do is for educational, entertainment purposes, not to be taken as financial advice. This is why we have the free area, right? That so you can dabble absolutely risk-free, understand what's happening in the markets, test the waters and figure out, is this for you or is it not for you, right? It's not for everybody, right? We have a lot of inquiries, specifically in December, over people saying, hey, they want to jump in, but can barely speak English, can barely understand how to log on the internet. And it's not to say it's impossible, but it can be difficult, right? And that's why we built the academy. You can start the process, learn of where money came from, what is charts, what's the markets, and that starts to sink in. You know that you've got a fighting chance. But if it makes zero sense whatsoever, and you're still struggling to use the platform, honestly speaking, it might not be for you, right? And that's just why we created the free area. Again, risk-free, so you can figure that out for yourself. But outside of that, guys, we're going to start the week with a bang. We will be issuing trade opportunities into our area. And again, if you haven't done so already, open that TDM live account, get that featured, meaning upload your documents to prove that it's you, get that funded and open up your Premium Plus account to qualify for the mentorship call this Saturday. Now, I'll be closing down the qualifications on Friday. So if you have not registered before Friday midday, right, you won't qualify. Even if you register Saturday morning, as an example, you won't qualify for that Saturday call because I want to put out that link already on Friday afternoon. So get that account open, get it funded, make sure you're part of Premium Plus to start the year, the first mentorship call of 2024. It's going to be big, it's going to be powerful. It's everything everybody's been asking for the last year. We are finally implementing. I'm going to give additional parts of my time to every single one of our clients. So outside of that, guys, appreciate you. I can see Mishak's in the house. I can see Vaynant's in the house. Petunia, Tamela, Samuel, is it Samuel? Samuel's in the house. So guys, welcome. If you're watching this after the fact, then a massive welcome. Still drop in the comments where in the world you are joining us from and where you're watching from. Outside of that, guys, be safe, trade safe, you know the drill, and I'll see you all a little bit later. Premium Plus, I'll see you guys 3:15 this afternoon as we look at trading that US session, just looking at some of that volume, and I'll do some further analysis of what could potentially happen for some of those data points that are going to be coming out this afternoon. Outside of that, you know the drill. See you a little bit later. Goodbye.